Hello everybody, Mr. Sticksman here, and welcome back to a slightly more relaxed episode than usual in Stormworks, because today we're going to explore the brand new version of our boat. It's got a ton of upgrades and changes, and we're going to need it because in the next episode we are setting off on our next adventure with the aim to complete a $10 million cargo haul. However, this won't just be an ordinary $10 million cargo haul, because I'm going to throw an extra spanner into the works, which could make our mission a whole lot more intense and dangerous. To find out what that is, though, you'll have to wait till the next episode. Anyway, grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's go exploring around the new version of our boat. Okay, here she is then, and I think this must be about Mark 15 of this boat now. I've completely lost count of how many versions we've made of this thing. But anyway, this is of course the latest version. And you might notice already that I've got my logo now on the smokestack, so that's pretty cool. And by the way guys, most of the things that you're going to see today are actually viewer suggestions. I think pretty much most of them are. So thank you so much for everybody for contributing your ideas. Anyway, let's carry on here. And I suppose we might as well start off at the bow. There's a few interesting things over there, and just while we're on the way, I've got to give a quick shout out guys, because Grayson, it was your birthday on Friday, wasn't it? So I hope you had a good day. Anyway, happy birthday to you. Right then, what do we have over here? Well, of course we have a crane and the mini Wolverine. Guys, I made this in this season actually quite a long time ago, but I've just converted the colour of it. I've upgraded it a bit. It's got a few extra features on now. So the idea is of course that we can load it into the water with that crane and then go and do missions with it or whatever we need to, and then just lift it back on deck again. It has got a small diesel engine in there. It's got, bits of equipment around it, loads of rope hooks or anchors, and, you can refuel it on the nose there. What else have we got? Single exhaust, single propeller. I actually think we can get to the Arctic on it from over here. It's a tiny thing and it goes miles and miles, and it's super fun. And also, you can't sink it because basically if it goes upside down, it just rights itself automatically. It is, as far as I've experienced, completely unflippable. It's just amazing, this thing. So yeah, I decided to put it on the boat here and just colour it in the main theme that we've got going on here, the blue and sort of yellowy gold there. And if you have been watching this season from the beginning, you might notice that this is actually a small version of the big Wolverine that we started off this whole season with. But also, of course, how do we connect it to the deck? Well, we have a cradle here just to sort of guide it into place, because the crane is using mags, and I'll explain that in a minute. But yeah, it's got these two sliding connector grippers underneath, and then a sort of is it a gripper track or something? I can't remember. Connector track there, and just got two of those to hold it in place. And then the cradle is to sort of guide it in when you're craning it back into its position, because you can of course lift it out the water and back onto the deck afterwards. Couple of buttons here as well, just to apply the brakes on the connectors and also to release them when you want to lift it out. And rope anchors, I just thought that might help a bit guiding it into place as well, but we don't actually need those for the majority of the time. It's just in case, that sort of thing. Now let's go over to the crane then, because, well, that's the other big feature here of course, and it's mainly to lift our mini Wolverine in and out of the water, but of course we can use it to lift anything in and out of the water really, as long as it's strong enough. But yet we've got, right and left movement here. We also have a beacon, which is I think number 4, number 3, what is it? Oh yeah, I need to go and turn on my breaker actually. I've got new breakers in the bridge, guys. Let me just go and do that now, and we'll see if that helps things at all. I'll come and show you this in a minute, but we do have some new breakers over there. Okay, yeah, I've just turned my mags on by mistake. Anyway, there we go, so we can turn the mags on and off. And we also have a little, is it called a beacon light or an emergency light? I'm not too sure, but anyway, that's a flashing or a strobing light up there, just to show that we are in operation. What else do we have here? Surrounding lights. I don't know if that one works at the moment. We do have a spotlight as well just over there, so you can see it basically lights up anything which the crane is picking up, whichever direction it's facing, so that's pretty cool. Very, very bright, that one. Now, I'm not actually going to put the mini Wolverine into the water and use it right now. I'm going to save that for the next couple of episodes. Hopefully, we will get to use it in one of those. But yeah, just for now, I'm going to quickly demonstrate, how the crane just works. There we go. It's extending there. and then you can also lift up and down that sort of big connector piece there. All right, guys. The reason why I've got mags on it and not, electrical connectors or anything else, rope anchors, is because it's just the easiest way of connecting to the Mini Wolverine from in the water in, any sort of position, really. And it also means that, of course, we can lift anything else. Like if we go up to the Arctic, for example, we can lift icebergs on board for missions or whatever, stuff like that. Or we can lift any other sort of boat as well. And I've just fallen off. Anyway, that's why I've gone for that setup right now. Let me just turn off the beacon here. There we go, and that's all done, I think. All right. By the way, if anyone recognises this crane, let me know in the comments, but I'll give you a clue. It is something that I built for Season 1. Let me know if you do remember this. We did actually use it in the Arctic to lift icebergs. Good memories, guys. Anyway, I brought it back because I thought it'd be quite nice to bring it back and just slightly modify it to make it fit in with our new boat here. Now we come to the pumping system, and I won't spend too long on this because actually it's the same as it was before, but I had a lot of people suggesting different ideas to speed up the selling process for our jet fuel, because of course it does take a very, very long time when you're dealing with this amount of fluid. And I tested a lot of different versions, like every single suggestion I tried out, guys, and it actually is really, really interesting, and I was quite surprised by this, but actually every single result was exactly the same as this setup here. Or at least eventually it was the same. Let me explain though, because there were some slight differences, okay? Basically the difference is that the more power, like for example, I tried double the amount of pumps, very simple upgrade there, and it was exactly the same eventual speed. But what happens is for the first sort of 20 to 40 seconds of selling the fuel, it's a bit quicker, and then it gradually slows down and reaches sort of a final speed, and then it just continues at that speed forever. And that was the same for whatever method I used. I tried using or taking out all of the T pieces, for example, because apparently they might sort of reduce the rate of flow. I've tried to double up the pumps. I've actually used like twin winches, like two big winches on each tank, each having their own separate fuel pump system and separate fluid ports. And also I've tried, even like I made a fluid pump adapter, right, and I put it near the crane, so we had the pumps on the boat, then we had an adapter which is halfway up the hose on the island, and then I had the crane pumps as well, of course, as you would do anyway, and that made no difference either. I also tried putting the hoses into both types of fluid anchors and ports or connectors on the crane itself, because of course you can connect it up on one of these things here, and also an actual connector piece on the crane as well, so it's got sort of two inlets on the crane. But unfortunately, now the difference was the first 20 to 40 seconds were much faster, like noticeably, like maybe double the speed that we were selling the fuel. But after 40 seconds it slowed down. It's exactly the same as this setup right here. There was no difference at all, and it seems like there is a limit on the crane itself, so unfortunately however much sort of force we put through it, I don't think it's going to get any quicker after the first 40 seconds or so. It's also not a battery issue, because I have tried it with infinity electric power turned on just as a test, right, and it made zero difference at all, unfortunately. But I've pretty much tried everything I can think of, guys. Okay, anyway, let's carry on down here then. And also I had a suggestion to upgrade these warning strips here, the warning paint, into the paintable signs or indicators even, so we can have them light up in the night time and we can have them more detailed. And I think that's a brilliant idea. There's a couple of reasons why I haven't done that, at least not yet. One of them is because of performance. I'm not quite sure if it's going to reduce my frames having all that extra detail. Maybe it'll be fine actually. So we could try that. But also one of the main reasons is that these ones over here, for example, are actually pieces of pipe under the deck. They're not actually just ordinary blocks, and I wasn't so sure about changing those systems at the moment. So I've left them as this for now, just so that they are all, the same, and there's consistency between the design on all of these warning strips. But we might change it at some point. We'll have to see what happens there. Okay, let's go up into the bridge then. There are a few extra brand new things in here. And first of all, you'll notice the lights came on. Now every single light inside the boat is automatic. based on these player sensors here. But they only work, of course, if I've got the main power switched on. So that is now a breaker for the main power, which controls basically everything except the motors and the emergency or auxiliary power batteries over there. We've also got a bit of an extra design here just to tell us it's the power, just in case I forget, which I might well do at some point. Next on this monitor here, I now have a switch. That is our reverse camera monitor. And now I've got a switch on there instead of on here, because we've got a lot more stuff on here now, some new stuff related to the motors and the engines. And I'll get into that in just a second as well. Let's have a look at the lights and camera control seat. So over here, I have a switch to roof cam control. So at the moment, my A and D controls are going to move this left spotlight, as you can see right now. Okay, so that's just that one there. But if I switch this one over here, it's now going to reset the spotlight on the left hand side to its natural neutral position, and then switch over controls to our new roof cam. And guys, I've done away with the massive $50,000 gimbal camera because it's quite heavy, and also $50,000. Oh, and sorry, my camera, I don't know what's going on, guys. My mouse and my camera are a bit weird sometimes. I have to sort that out. But anyway, yeah, look, now A and D control this camera left and right instead of the spotlight down here. But also we can turn on our monitor, so there is that control there, and not only can we go left and right, but also W and S will control field of view, or basically zoom, I suppose. So that's pretty cool. Look how far it goes. It's a bit of a shame that we can't have up and down movement with this one at the moment, but it's pretty good. And of course we do still have the night vision mode as well. That's where it's really useful, right, for the night time. It's not very good in the daytime, but anyway, there we go. So that's really useful, and that was another viewer suggestion, so thank you very much for telling me how to switch those. I think everything else here is pretty much the same, apart from this. Now, I've got a new anti-flood system, guys, and we'll go down below deck in a minute. I'll actually show you exactly what that is, but we don't have any controls up here anymore. We've just got warning indicators, and a lot more of them. So before we had 3 sections, now we've got 7, because I've been doing a lot of work under the deck, and we'll go down and see that soon. But essentially, if you get water in any of the sections in the hull, one of these lights will start flashing here, and the buzzer will start buzzing away as well. Over on the generator side, and again I'll show you this down below deck later on, but we now have a generator which is directly connected to our fluid jets, guys. And a couple of you have suggested this, so I thought I'd give it a go, and it does work. So it took me a while to sort of figure it out, but it does work quite well at the moment. So now we're not having any sort of battery in between the generator and the jets. It goes straight to them, and that means that if we use too much power, it's not going to sort of drain or cut out the lights or other things around the boat. I have had some problems with this, and I won't go into too much detail now, but one of them involved the fluid jets on the left cutting out and the fluid jets on the right staying on, so we started just turning left forever. And yeah, that was a bit of a challenge, and I really didn't understand. I don't understand why the left-hand side of the boat cuts out and the right doesn't, when all the connections are exactly, symmetrical and identical, at least as far as I can tell anyway. And look, we're turning left, guys. Why are we turning left? Now, I had this issue recently, because what I was going to do with our mini Wolverine was actually put it right onto the stern, aiming down into the water, and then I was going to release it and it would like dive under the water and then surface, and then you'd get on it and go. But what I found is when I connected it up, the boat was turning left in the dock, and I thought that I'd just sort of gotten rid of that problem by putting it up here on the bow, but obviously not. We are turning left. I don't know, guys. I don't know what's going on. If anyone is aware of why we are turning left, please do inform me, because I've got zero idea. But it's something to do with these connectors, I think, because every time I connect an electrical connector or one of these sliding connectors, we seem to turn left. But as to why, no idea. Anyway, we now have a clutch for the fluid jets. We've also got an engine throttle for the big main engines, and that's the trim over there, which you've seen in the last couple of episodes, if you've seen those. Anchors are the same, and yeah, what else have we got over here? Oh yes, a battery generator clutch. I've now got a separate new generator just to charge the batteries, because the batteries are still there, we're just not using them for our fluid jets. Anyway, let's go down below deck, I think. And oh yeah, of course, we now have a brand new logo on the floor as well. I thought that was a really cool idea. So thank you for that suggestion as well. I thought that's really, really cool, that one. Anyway, let's go and have a look below deck, I suppose. Of course, now all of the lights are automatic, so that's the same as before. But if we walk in here, these are now automatic as well. This area is the same, but oh no, it's not the same, is it? We now have a remote control, guys. So again, another suggestion is to have remote control fluid gantries to refuel and top up the tanks and everything. So now we can control cranes remotely, and we're going to be doing that in the next couple of episodes. So it's just got a handheld remote control unit there, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, I think it's the same. We'll use that another time. Anyway, let's go down now. What's below here? Oh yes, okay, so the engine room now has a couple of minor upgrades, and my flashlight is running out of battery. Can I replace it? Yes, I can. Let's do that. So yeah, the engines are, again, they're pretty much the same. However, I've now put this design on the ends of them just to make them look a bit more neat and tidy, and I quite like that design, actually. It's the same over here as well. The numbers have received a bit of colour. I think everything else is actually the same at the moment. Let's head through now. Now this is where I've done a lot of work down here, guys. Oh yeah, there's some more. Just changed a few things around here, but I've done so much work over in this area of the boat. So now I've sectioned off each of the tank rooms, so they're all separate. Of course, that's to do with the anti-flood system. But now we have triple pumps on either side. So, and we have a manual control for them. So if we go over to the other side of the room, you'll see that I've got the same setup on the other side. We've also got new ladders here, and I'll go through those hatches in a minute. But that's the same on both sides. And the reason why I've got sort of manual control over these things instead of controlling them from the bridge, which you might think would be better, right? Because it's quicker and easier just to access all of these pumps from one location. But I want this to be a bit more of a challenge. So in the next episode, I said there's going to be more of a challenge, and potentially there really will be. And I want to have to run down here and turn these pumps on myself by hand and do the repairs and stuff like that. I want to have an extra challenge, and that's why we're going to have to actually come down to these rooms to turn the pumps on and eject water if we need to. But essentially that turns all the pumps on this side, and we've got an on sort of alert indicator there, and it lights up our fluid level as well. And also we do just have a welding torch, underwater welding torch, because if this room gets flooded, we are going to be swimming underwater in here. So yeah, that's why. And I've got a flare there, 4 flares even, to light up the area if necessary, first aid kit, and an oxygen mask as well. So yeah, I've also put these stands here underneath the tanks, and I just did that to make them sort of connect onto the ground. But the reason why they're not against the ground to increase the size of them is because if we get damage under there, that damage is very likely going to travel up and into the tank itself, and we might start leaking $10 million, dollars of jet fuel. So yeah, that's why I've got a gap here. I think that's very important. I'm not sure if it's enough of a gap, but certainly, it's better than nothing, isn't it? I think is it 2 blocks high? No, 3 blocks high? 2 or 3 anyway. So it's fairly good, hopefully. Anyway, let's move on to the next room now, which actually is exactly the same as the other room, so we won't spend any more time here. But, it's the same on both sides. Anyway, let's go through into this one. And again, no difference at all in this one. That is the third and final tank. But I haven't painted this one. I'm not quite sure what colours I want to paint them yet in here. But okay, let's go into the next room. Now this one is different. This is now our battery room. Okay, so we have a bit of a stand here with our 3 batteries on, same setup as before, but now they've got their own room again, of course, with their own pumps as well. And again, the reason why I've got these raised off the ground, and by the way, those are actually the auxiliary power or the emergency power. I've got I think 5, is it? No, yeah, I think 5 medium batteries under there, so that's quite handy, and a battery charger as well, which hopefully that means they can charge up the big batteries a bit if they need to. But yeah, they're raised off the floor because if we get damage underneath again, of course, hopefully it won't travel up into those batteries and damage them. Now these ones are in danger, but chances are it'll be okay. We never quite, we can't be sure, but let's hope we don't get too much damage under there anyway. Now let's move on to the next and final room. This is the bow, of course. And again, the same pumping system. Those are the anchors. I've actually changed back now to 100-meter anchors. There's still an issue with them, but we won't worry about that for now. But yeah, they do go down 100 meters, and they're very, very good. So they work properly. Everything else is pretty simple in here, actually. There's not much to talk about. Again, the same sort of toolboxes and equipment and stuff like that. Now let's move back towards the stern of the boat, because there's another couple of rooms and some secret hatches to go through. I say secret, they're not that secret, but anyway, here they are. So let's go just through here, and this is the fuel tank room. Now first of all, I have actually increased the size of our fuel tank. I've brought it down one layer, so now it holds over 14,000 litres instead of, I think, 9,700 in the previous episode. So it does hold a lot more than it used to. Also, we've got, fluid pumps in here as well. The same systems as in the other rooms, as you can see. Same tools and equipment there. And automatic lights. Here is our new generator. So this actually charges the 3 batteries at the bow in their own room. It charges those ones. That has nothing to do with the actual sort of electric motors and fluid jets that power this thing forwards and backwards. So yeah, that's what that's for, and it does work pretty well actually. Then we'll go through here, and this is the final room at the stern, where we've got our electric motors, new clutches, guys, I've put on there, and the fluid jets as well. The same pumping system here, so we've got triple pumps on either side, so they're a lot more powerful than we had before. Automatic lights. I think that's pretty much it though. The bed is still there. I have not made a cabin yet. I don't quite know what to do. I might do a bit of a rework on this staircase. I might turn it into a ladder, and then possibly have some kind of cabin up here in this area. I'm not really sure yet. I quite like the staircases. I'll have to do some thinking about that. But anyway, we'll see what happens with that in the future. I'm dropping some frames here, guys, because of course the lights are very, very demanding on my performance. Let's get out of there. Yeah, that's better. That's much better now. Okay, back here on the stern, I've got some ropes and, just very basic stuff actually over here. I don't think there's much difference at all. And as you can see, we're still turning left, which is a bit of an issue, isn't it? I'm so confused by that. I wish that didn't happen. Oh, by the way, guys, when I came back here, because of course in the last episode we finished off at the airport where we sold lots of jet fuel and made over $2 million. But on the way back home, I did that off camera, and I did find a couple of crates actually. So I'll put that on screen right now, and you can just see, I think we made about 12,500 from 2 crates on the way back. Nothing else happened. I only just got back. We actually ran out of fuel. Let me just zoom out here, right? Okay, so we are over here at the moment. This is our home base, and we were over here in the last episode where we finished off. I got to around here, the military hospital that we own as well. I got to around there with our diesel, right? Then it ran out, and I thought, there is no way I'm going to get home now. But amazingly, our batteries got us all the way home. Only just like by the end of the journey, we lost so much power that I was going like 1 knot. I think I was going like just over 1 knot back into the dock. But we made it just on the batteries from here. It's incredible. I don't know how that worked. And I really ramped up the power. We were doing like 18 knots on the batteries anyway. And then, yeah, it's just incredible, guys. So those batteries were very useful. I might have to put in a system in the boat where we can switch over power to the batteries if I need to into the fluid jets, because to be honest, they really did save me there. But yeah, now we have $2,065,125. That is more than enough for what we need. And just in case you're wondering, the cost of this boat at the moment is $298,000. That is how much this thing costs at the moment, and it weighs 55,634. So yeah, it's getting fairly pricey, but again, we can afford to spawn it in. And guys, we are going to have to spend over $1 million just to buy the jet fuel in order to sell it. Anyway, we'll get onto that in the future, because that is, of course, over the next couple of episodes, we're going to be doing that. Anyway, guys, that's just about it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a bit of a shorter one today, but I thought it'd be a cool idea to show you guys the progress before we actually set sail and do this massive mission in front of us. And then when we do that, we can focus on the task at hand instead of running around deck when, you know, potentially things could be happening around us that are, you know, a bit more dangerous. But I hope you've enjoyed it, guys. Do keep your suggestions coming if you want to, and I'll still do probably a few things here and there to this boat before we take off in the next episode. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.